Welcome to After Dark at the Fixed Ops Roundtable, featuring Katrina Ness, Vanessa Collins, and Ted Ings. This episode is brought to you by BG Products, partners beyond products. And now for your hosts, Ted Ings, Vanessa Collins, and Katrina Ness.
Good evening, everyone. Happy Monday, and welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable's After Dark show. Tonight is a very exciting episode as we are here with the great technician, Marco Zwanenburg, and our very own Northwood University automotive aftermarket student, Will Morrison. So excited to have you guys on the show tonight.
Well, thank you for having us, Vanessa. I mean, this is going to be a great one, especially two different sides of the industry on tonight. It's going to be very interesting, very informative. What do you think, William?
Yes, especially coming from our two different backgrounds, being collision and mechanical, a lot of big similarities and also some key differences, but ways that we can both help each other out. So it's going to be an exciting one.
All right. Well, Marco and William, welcome. Thank you for joining us today. Now, we are live, right, Vanessa?
Yes, we are live.
All right, so we'll bring the comments in. Katrina, you were telling me about Will last week when we were at Dayton, Ohio for the Reynolds pop-up. Give us some background on how we got here and a little bit of background on Will, and then I'll let him go.
Yeah, of course. So we have our auto show at Northwood, and we were riding around in the golf carts, and Will was helping us jump all of our cars that die over the weekend. And he told me that he really wanted to be featured on the show. And I was like, great. So I told Ted, and I thought having Marco join us would be a wonderful idea too. So that's how the idea kind of came about. But yeah, Will is a second-year student at Northwood University. So Vanessa and I do go to school with him, and he has participated in an auto show for the past couple of years. And this year he was captain of 3M. Will, if you want to talk a little bit about yourself and kind of give us your own little intro and tell us, just about you.
Yeah. So once again, happy to be here tonight. A little bit backstory of mine into the auto industry is I've been in the collision industry working as a technician for approximately 5 years now. Day one of high school was day one of working as an apprentice and later on a technician. So immediately got right into it. Right after high school would let out, I'd walk down the street to the body shop that I worked at and started my apprenticeship. Did that for 3.5 years for just a local mom and pop. And then I went to work for a bigger organization as a body technician. And then going up to Northwood, I started working as a structural technician. So going to Northwood now a little bit to kind of diversify my knowledge into the industry, and I'm loving every minute of it.
I'm excited about this combo tonight with Marco and Will. Will, give us a little more background. How old are you? And I've heard a couple of things that you said, but you also go to school with Katrina and Vanessa. Is that right?
Yes, I go to school with Katrina and Vanessa here at Northwood. I am a automotive aftermarket management student in my second year. And I am 19 years old, so currently a sophomore here at Northwood.
All right.
Wow, that's insane. And I'm sure everyone has already noticed, but you talk very professionally for 19 years old, and you're super knowledgeable. We were explaining and experiencing that in the green room as well. So you have a good head on your shoulders.
Thank you.
Marco, and by the way, Will, you may have seen a hashtag a little bit earlier. The WWMD stands for What Would Marco Do? Because typically at the roundtable, when we're stumped with something that we can't figure out, we say, what would Marco do? How would he handle this? Marco, your thoughts on the situation?
Well, I think that it is absolutely amazing and wonderful that, someone as William at his age is joining the industry hands-on. We need it so bad in all aspects of the industry, not just bodies, but mechanical as well, electrical. We need hands-on people. So seeing this and being part of this show, to me, that's just fantastic. And I'm not going to mention my age, by the way.
All right. Ed Roberts is in the chat. So, Ed, during the green room, we showed Will a tour that you gave of Bozard Ford Lincoln. And Ed, help us out on average age of the texter. I was giving Will probably the wrong information, but you have a young average age if you get a chance to put that in the chat. And Marco, extraordinary with young people like Will coming into the industry.
Absolutely. That's the only reason why this industry keeps moving forward and why we can we're able to provide situational awareness to what's really going on in these shops, because it's so hard to find people that actually know what they're doing, that have the affinity, that are able to translate it from here into here. So especially on the bodywork side, because I actually did a stint of bodywork for about less than a year, and where other people, they rub their hand over the body, go like, no, it's a little low here, a little high there. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Where's the lug nuts at? So it was definitely not my forte, but just the aptitude that comes in for doing a job like that, and especially nowadays with the aluminum structures, the aluminum frames, the electrical components of vehicles that are so easily damaged if you weld on a vehicle without using the proper protection, as you know, Will. So I would like to kick it over to you a little bit and tell me what steps do you guys take in the body shop to prevent any damage or hazardous situation, especially when you're working on electrical vehicles and aluminum bodies?
Yes. So it all starts with education, of course. We're getting into a lot of hybrids right now. It's not as simple as disconnecting the 12-volt battery and going ahead and welding. So especially on the electrical vehicles, each manufacturer is going to have their own guidelines. And in collision, and I'm sure just as well as mechanical, we go by what the manufacturer says. We are not the engineers of the vehicle. We need to put back to the way the engineers intended it to be. So in particular with EVs, a lot of different auto manufacturers will either tell you to utilize the fireman's fuse or the fireman's disability, or they'll have you go right to the battery and disable the fuse there. So it is all dependent on what the manufacturer says. The general rule of thumb going into welding is if there are any computers, wires within 18 inches of your weld zone, that also needs to be removed as well. So that's kind of the general rule of thumb. Number one, consult the manufacturer. But number two, there are a couple of good general rule of thumbs to use as well as a tech.
Wonderful. I mean, you were going along with training and starting, teaching them. That's a learning process, and for safety especially. So Marco was also talking a little bit in the beginning about age within technicians. So when bringing young people into the automotive industry and into the business, how important do you both think, we can start with Will, how important do you think mentoring is and having someone to look up to and teach you and guide you and teach you these little things to help you excel in the position that you are put in?
Yeah, having a good mentor is key for any young aspiring technician. I want to, give out a quick example of if you have a young technician coming into your organization, wanting a job, wanting to get that first step in. There's a couple of things that I challenge you to kind of look into first. Number one is, do you have a technician that is set up and ready to be a mentor? It would be a lot better to tell that technician no. I do know of somebody that can take in a younger technician right now and has a mentor ready. It would be a lot better to have that instead of pairing them up with a technician that is not ready to mentor yet, because that can be a later asset for you as they come up and become a technician that can work on their own. So number one is doing that. And to get, a technician ready to become a mentor, sending them through training, sending them through leadership courses and learning how to train. Because a lot of technicians, they understand things technically, but it's getting that just quick little spinner on things on how to communicate and how to teach that as well. So having the good mentor and setup there is incredibly key.
Wonderful.
Some of the chats coming in now are coming in heavy. Vanessa, that video has uploaded, so it's ready to roll if you want to go ahead and set it up for us and tell us what it's all about.
Yeah, so at our auto show this past year, Katrina and we walked around and did some mini mic interviews as well as walk-arounds. And Will was able to do a little mini mic interview with me for his booth. He was the captain of 3M. So if we would like to show it, we definitely can.
All right, it's ready to go. Do you want to do the honors, Vanessa?
Yeah,
or
yeah, for sure.
All right.
Hi, Vanessa here with the 61st International Auto Show, and I am here with
Will Morrison.
And tell me a little bit about yourself and about your booth.
So I'm an automotive aftermarket student here at Northwood University. Before coming to Northwood, I was a collision repair technician of 5 years, and now I'm happy to bring 3M for the first time here at Auto Show.
That's awesome. So tell me a little bit about what you have in your booth.
So yes, here at 3M mainly does collision repair products such as sandpaper, seam sealers, body filler, everything to do with the vehicle but the paint itself. So here at the show, we have our sprayable seam sealers over here. We have our dustless sanding system and belt grinding system as well. We also have our PPS system, which is a paint gun system, kind of the only one of its kind. And finally, our random orbital polisher right over there.
Thank you so much, and you have an awesome booth.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much.
That's awesome. You are so well spoken, Will, and you did a great job on your booth. That's awesome.
Thank you.
If you're ever at the auto show. How did you get them to the auto show, by the way?
So it starts with the network. Last year or this year in February, I went to AutoWares' Tech Expo, and a connection that I have with mine paired me up with 3M, and I got to learn a little bit more about how 3M does things operationally, aside from using their supplies there in the shop. And started talking with them, connected, and here they came at the auto show this year.
That's
Great
wonderful.
job.
Throughout the whole weekend, Will was sanding down things. Do you want to describe to them? Because I cannot even probably match
Live demos.
a lot of demos.
So lots of demos. All the products that were on that table, we were doing live demos on, and we were kind of looking more towards the DIY market. So there are kind of gaps in knowledge between DIY and professional. And my whole goal was to kind of bridge that gap a little bit. So the PPS system, the belt grinder, and the dustless sanding system as well, and the abrasives we were using on that. A lot of it is perfect for the DIY segment as well. There was a little bit, up in the price, but how we explain things in a way that made sense to the DIYer on why it made sense to use a more premium product for the project.
And Will, this is the 3M company, right? The company that you bring to Northwood. Well,
yes.
So Marco, he's already very good with the sponsors.
What more do you need?
Absolutely.
Linda Hansen is in the chat. Linda, I'm impressed already. And Katrina, it was great to have Linda with us last week at Dayton, Ohio.
Yes, I got to meet Linda in person last week when Ted and the whole crew was down at the Reynolds & Reynolds headquarters. It was so wonderful. We were joined by Linda and also Don Andres. So it was amazing. Just a wonderful, midweek little trip that we had the ability to take.
Right. Linda, I'm still having flashbacks that they're going to ask us to do it again. All right. So to do that panel one more time. So Alexander Maison, what an honor to have you here. What a great 61st annual auto show. Alexander, congratulations to you and your team. Alex, I can't imagine what's coming. Okay. And what'll happen for the 62nd, but we're buckled up and we can't wait to see.
Yeah, for sure.
Sorry,
Another
Vanessa.
question for Will and Marco as well. So you guys are both on different sides of kind of the tech industry, with Marco being in the mechanical side and Will being more in the body and collision side. So how can these two different parts work together and help each other? And how are they similar and how are they different? Marco, if you want to take the lead on this, and then Will, you can hop in as well.
I would say, first of all, check your pride. Leave it at the door. Don't bring it in. I think this is where, and see, Will's already agreeing with me, this is where a lot of stuff goes wrong. The mechanical side thinking that, if your frame is bent like a banana, that after 3 times aligning it, everything will be, fine and dandy. Same with on the other side, if they start, cutting away at vehicles, like I see them come in with cut up wiring harnesses and just issues really, really tough to find. How we can help each other is by canning that pride, make use of each other's knowledge. They can help the mechanical side, and the mechanical side can help them. We have a body shop that is owned by the company that owns the dealership that I work for. So it does multiple brands, but it's all OEM. But they have no qualms whatsoever sending the vehicle over. It's like, hey, I need to have this or this removed. Or I have these mechanical parts coming in. It's like, can you put them on? Can you program them? they're not doing anything by themselves. And just as Will mentioned earlier, just buffing it out a little bit in the detail shop is not quite going to fix it. Especially nowadays with these Magnum Magneto flat paints and the triple coat systems. We need to be very aware of each other's abilities and simply how we can scratch each other's back, and just at the end of the day, get the product out at a higher quality and faster. It's a win-win situation for the entire industry.
So for those of you joining us tonight, we're live on the After Dark show. Comments are coming in. We're with Katrina Ness and Vanessa Collins, joined by the one and only Marco Zwanenburg, who's with us from Naples, Florida. Honored to have him. And we have a new student at Northwood, new to the Roundtable. Okay. His name is Will Morrison. He's 19 years old. And Katrina and Vanessa were talking Will up last week and said he's got to come on the show. He wants to be on, and no one better to have him on with than Marco. And Will, what a lot of interest, that's growing in the technician, okay, and the fact that, there's such a valuable resource for the company, whether it's the dealership or the organization they work for. That technician is now being recognized more than ever before, and I think a lot of it has to do with Marco here too.
Absolutely, yes. The interest of being a technician is incredibly popular in my generation right now, and it offers a very great way to come up very quickly. I can be seen as a prime example of that. You can get in as early as you want to, as long as you have the candidate that is willing to put their mindset to it, is willing to learn every day, come in, dude. Those are the prime qualities that you need starting out. They don't need to have a tool set. They don't need to have all that. They need to have the great attitude and willing to come in with a learning mentality every day and, check the ego at the door. And they will excel in this industry. So
that's awesome. Now, Will, you talked a little bit about OEM certifications in the green room and how dealers with body shops doesn't necessarily mean that they have that certification from the manufacturer. So if you wanted to touch a little bit more on that. Yeah.
Yes. Before I get to that, I wanted to bounce a little bit more off of what Marco was saying earlier. Yeah. Body technicians and mechanics, once again, make a perfect team. Like one thing that I see that is a mistake on the dealership side of things is handling an insurance claim that is just suspension damage, putting it through the mechanical shop. But okay, the claim started at the mechanical shop. Okay, now there's damage to the wheelhouse, all that. Now it failed alignment. It's a lot harder in an insurance claim to sublet from a mechanical shop to a body shop. So I highly, highly recommend, if things are an insurance claim, have that partner body shop start that claim process. If it is all just suspension damage, the dealership inevitably is still going to make the same amount of RO time. And not to mention, taking on collision jobs, if you're not already, fantastic for your technicians. It's not warranty work. You're dealing with the pockets of an insurance company, multi-billion-dollar companies. If the operation needs to be done, they pay for it when you negotiate properly. Fantastic work to bring into your organizations. Now for body technicians, utilizing, guys like Marco as a team player. When I go to weld on that vehicle, removing wiring harnesses, removing computers, all of that is not an operation that should be done by a body tech. That should be subletted to the mechanic so I can stay focused on welding the vehicle, sanding it, sending it to paint. And guys like Marco that do it every day should be focused on removing those items. And it all can be paid through sublet. I've seen it done, and inevitably it's better margin for both technicians.
Wow.
Sure. It's
Marco?
all about teamwork and working together.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Moving to the OEM certification side of things, if you are a dealership that represents a certain manufacturer and you have a body shop, that does not default you to having a certification. There is a process, there is a vetting process you need to go to where certain OEM manufacturers will say, okay, does your spot welder meet our requirements? Do your technicians meet our training requirements? Does your frame rack, does your paint booth meet our requirements? There is a vetting process that you need to go through. There are a lot of key benefits to having OEM certifications, even outside of your manufacturers as well. The organization that I worked for represented manufacturers that weren't even in its dealership network, but we still had a lot of great business coming in. It allows you to get away from DRP and more towards marketing direct to the consumer, which means better margins and more leverage negotiating repair times for your technician. It's the best part right now in the industry, that it's the train to be hopping on and going with that. So, yeah.
Wow.
Marco, do you concur? Your thoughts?
Oh, no, absolutely. I mean, he's 100% correct on that. One of the things that baffles me actually is, like, we're always looking for ways to increase, hours per RO or profit, etc. There is not a car that comes through the drive, on average, that does not need some sort of body work. So if you have, like Will said, an associated dealership, body shop, why not hand them off to the body shop real quick, make some extra money, bounce it back into the shop to finish it up? Everybody wins again. And here's the nice thing about people, at least this is what I noticed in all my years of doing this. By the way, Will, I have 30 years on you and 28 years in the industry, so I've seen a thing or two. I sound like the commercial now, but okay. People are more apt to spend money on the cars looking good than to actually have them roadworthy. If I hit it with a $2,700 estimate for some suspension work, go like, I didn't hear anything. You see that scratch on the trunk, go like, oh my God, the world just ended. Take advantage of that. Use it. That is my concurrent there, Ted.
That's very strong.
Yeah. You know, what they can't see can't hurt them, I think, is a lot of mindset of the everyday consumer. So I totally understand what you're saying, Marco, as well.
See, and Will, you have a great plus over when I started in the industry. Look at what we're doing now. When I started, the internet wasn't even invented yet. So we have all this video. We do video inspections. Seeing is believing and seeing is selling. So make use of that little clip that you guys just did from being in your booth. That is fantastic marketing. It's name branding. It's doing everything for you as the technician. And at the end of the day, you are your own entity. If you're good, you have people like, Sean, Tully, begging for you to come work there. So it's a great thing, and it's there, people. Make use of it as heavily as you can.
Will, what are some of your thoughts on that, on the mechanical shop, on the videos the techs do to update the customer? That's something relatively new in our industry.
Yes, I heavily support it. It's something that's not being used in collision right now. However, I think it is something very key, because we work in an industry where the customer may be mistaken in how easy the process might be. So it offers the opportunity to educate the customer as well. So sending a video, I think in particular in collision, having the vehicle up on the frame rack, seeing why this job is taking a certain amount of time, seeing it all cut apart, all of that, seeing why it is taking so long, or why the job is very intensive. It's a very great way to educate your customer. So I think it's something that our industry should be taking advantage of a lot more.
Everybody, the queen of F&I is in the house. Welcome, Your Majesty. Rebecca Chernick is here tonight. And Will, strong comments, okay? I like all that stuff. Katrina, you were spot on with this.
Yeah, I thought this panel would go well together and we would have some good conversations. So
there's a lot. So, Will, what are your thoughts, for the industry? Okay, here you are. You've been in for a while already. Okay, and you got a lot of road ahead of you. Okay, where are we headed? Is it a good industry to get in? And some of your thoughts for the people watching.
It's a fantastic industry to get in. Building the organization, I believe, is key. This generation, there's a lot of us wanting to come in, but there's also a lot of openings. So the more you build your organization, as we talked about earlier, having that technician that's a good mentor, building a team of technicians that are good mentors. You're only going to set yourself up for success in being able to grow your operations. And when you treat your people right, they are going to stay. It's a great industry to get in. A lot of people are talking about the talent shortage, and those that are taking action on that talent shortage and becoming the active solution to that are the ones that I am seeing coming out on top of all of this. So it's a fantastic time to get in. When you have a good attitude of having that learning attitude, getting in, reapplying yourself every day and wanting to learn, you will be successful in this industry.
I think Will is touching on a lot of good points. A lot of the panels that I've been on recently, and I did an interview at the Reynolds and Reynolds headquarters on one of their podcasts, is about bringing and attracting more young people into this industry. And I think by Will bringing up the importance of mentoring and building a team that has good mentors inside of it, I think that those are very valuable things that everyone can take from this panel, coming from a 19-year-old who is passionate about this industry and sees a large future in it. So, Will, what do you see as your future in this industry?
Yes. So there's a couple different roads that I'd like to go down on. So one road is managing a shop, becoming a production manager or general manager for a body shop, and building that team of mentors, all of that, to keep growing the operation and having a great environment to work in. Another one is field sales for equipment, supplies, all of that. I know I would do very well with that, and I also do enjoy the field quite a bit. So that's another route that I've been thinking about going down. Another one is perhaps owning my own business, running a shop eventually, all of that. There's a lot of different roads that I see myself going down, and what I really like about Northwood University is that it is equipping me with the tools, see what I did there, with the tools to be able to go down all those roads.
So another, a way to go down these paths and kind of touch them and see what you like is internships. So what have you done in the past, like last summer or current work that you're working on with different companies to kind of test the waters and see what you want to do?
Yes. So this past summer, I worked with a company that is more local to my home base in Raleigh, North Carolina, called Precision Calibration. And we are a mobile ADAS calibration diagnostic, basically similar to like a mechanical sublet, mobile mechanical sublet for our collision customers in the Raleigh market. So I did this my last summer. I'm only in my second year, so I still have 2 internships to go. And this summer, I'm kind of looking into the field sales area of the industry. So, yeah.
Wow. That's amazing.
Jamie put up the hashtag, the word culture, okay, Will. And we talk a lot about culture, and we talk a lot about career path. How important is that for a young technician getting into the industry, whether it's on the body side or mechanical side, to have an organization with a good culture and a career path for that person as well?
Culture and career path is critical, especially culture. As a young technician, you're going to make mistakes, and some of them, they hit hard. Having that culture that is supporting you and coming up with, supporting and building up that young technician after that mistake is made is incredibly critical to retaining them. Not only that, it's career path. If you see that technician has leadership abilities or does really well at upsells and sales while they're talking with their service advisor on what other things should be sold on this ticket, take note of that and have the conversations with them on what their future looks like. A lot of people are content with being a technician for their whole career, eventually become a shop foreman and maybe production manager when, the body starts to catch up a little bit too quickly, and that's fine, but offer some alternative paths that they may not be necessarily thinking about as well.
Marco, the future is bright.
It is. This is such a great industry, Ted, because as long as things are moving, I'll be making money. When things stop moving, then I'm really making money. And it doesn't matter if the vehicle is internal combustion engine, electric, or the dang Starship Enterprise itself. Things are moving, we are fixing. It's an industry with unlimited potential for both personal growth, development, and income. So come join us, guys. Come join us.
Yep, I like it. Marco, what are the odds that we're going to have Will back on the roundtable?
I'd say about 10 out of 10.
All right. So a couple things. Chat's still coming in. Preston, good evening. Good to see you tonight. Mike Stoll, thank you for all you do for the industry. We have a big event coming up in just a couple of weeks, Vanessa, and it's coming up real quick. And tell us the info on it if you don't mind.
Yeah, so our upcoming event, Tailgate Touchdown, is coming up November 18th through the 21st, so less than a month away. I can't believe that it is already right there on the horizon, but it is going to be a great one, and you can get your complimentary tickets right now at fixedopsroundtable.com. Tailgate Touchdown, make sure to wear your jerseys. It's going to be a great 4 days, all virtual.
We have a lot coming up on this show. A lot of speakers you'll recognize. And now, Will, one of the reasons that Katrina will ask you for and that may have asked you for a headshot already, is the headshot is very important here for our guest speakers. Marco Zwanenburg, everybody will be speaking. Of course, it wouldn't be a Fixed Ops Roundtable without him. He will be speaking, as well as Mike Stoll, Senior Director at CDK Global, will be on the show as well. Kent McDonald, Dr. McDonald, President of Northwood University, will be on the show, as well as Ed Roberts from Bozard Ford Lincoln, Tully Williams, the Fixed Ops Director at the Nilo Company. Brian Kramer is speaking from Cars, Commerce, and AccuTrade. And that's just the beginning. We have a tremendous lineup for this show, and we hope you all can join us. And this Wednesday at 2:00 Eastern, we're going to have a live broadcast, that broadcast from Reynolds and Reynolds at the pop-up that Katrina was referring to a little bit earlier. That'll be coming up this Wednesday. And then, of course, we're going to be back on a Wednesday night with the After Dark show. So, great stuff.
Nice. So exciting.
Marco, this is really, really great. Thank you for this, and I'm not even sure.
Pleasure.
Next. Well, great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mark, I'll give you the last word.
You know what, guys? It's like retirement is knocking on the door for me, and I'm glad to see that we have guys like William that are ready to just take my place and keep the industry moving forward, not sideways, not backwards. So, William, it's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure, Marco, and everyone. Thank you for having me on tonight.
A lot.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Everybody, we'll see you
Absolutely.
Wednesday night. We'll be back at 8 p.m. Here on the After Dark Show live.